Welcome to another edition of Community Matters. I'm Jim Cameron, your host and the program director here at Darien TV 79. And as you know, being a faithful viewer that you are, Community Matters is a show where we talk to folks in the community who affect our lives, and boy, nobody's doing that more right now than our guest today on the program. Mitch Gross is a spokesman for Eversource. Mitch, brave man that you are. Good to have you with us on the program.
Jim, thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, we have a lot to talk about, and just to highlight it and keep people tuned in, yes, we are going to talk about trees, but we're going to get to that a little bit later. First, in the way of introduction, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and how you came to this job at Eversource.
Well, I've been in the communications business my entire working life. Growing up outside Philadelphia, I wanted to play the hits on the radio. I wanted to be a disc jockey way back when, and I got the chance out of college, and from there moved into television news and television sports, and from there, the logical transition was to move into corporate and agency public relations, and that's what I did. And I've been here at Eversource. It's going on 21 years I've been here.
Wow. And what exactly is Eversource?
Eversource, well, I could give you the corporate answer. We are New England's largest utility. We deliver electricity, and natural gas, as well as water through our Aquarion subsidiary to millions of people across 3 states: Connecticut, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire.
So you subsumed or acquired what we used to know as CL&P, Connecticut Light and Power?
It was a merger. It's been 10 years, I believe. It's about 10 years ago. The former Northeast Utilities, which at the time consisted of Connecticut Light and Power, Yankee Gas, Western Massachusetts Electric, and Public Service of New Hampshire. Northeast Utilities merged with NSTAR out of Boston, and we decided to change the name to Eversource, and we are Eversource across all 3 states.
And as you mentioned, you also more recently acquired Aquarion Water, but we're going to save that conversation for another time. But we want to talk specifically about electricity today.
Sure. Okay.
And something that often confuses me, and here's your chance to elucidate our audience as well too. The difference between being the company that makes the electricity and the company that distributes the electricity. You're the latter, not the former, right?
We used to be the both. We had, prior to the year 2000, we were both a generation company. We manufactured the electricity, so to speak, the electrons, and we delivered them. But in 2000, Connecticut decided to go another direction. They went the deregulation route, and at that point, we sold all of our generating facilities. And since January 1, 2000, we are strictly your delivery company. I sometimes say, look at us kind of like FedEx and UPS. We deliver a good or a service, and in this case, it's the power that you require.
And the electricity you deliver, where does it come from?
Well, it comes from the generating facilities, which could be located here in New England, or it could come from Canada or to the west of us. There's a very large grid that crisscrosses the entire country, and the power travels across this high voltage system. So it could come from numerous areas. Our job for most of our customers is to buy the power on behalf of our customers and deliver it to them. That's our role these days. We're the delivery company.
So when I get a bill from Eversource, it, I believe, breaks out what part of the cost was the generation of the electricity and what part was the delivery.
That's right. And actually, the generation, it's listed as supplier on your bill. The other side of the bill, delivery, those are our costs. They are incorporated in that list of about 7 line items that are on your bill under the delivery portion. You have the delivery portion, you have the supplier portion, and within the delivery portion, you have for the transmission system, you have costs for public policy, things we're required public policy laws, et cetera, that the state of Connecticut requires. We as customers pay for those through your bill. There's of course, taxes and fees, of course, are also on the delivery side as well. Now, you're probably going to ask about the recent rise on the supply side, the supplier side.
What made you think that, Mitch? I mean, it's on everybody's mind these days.
Of course.
They got their January bill and went into shock. What happened?
Well, the basically worldwide energy markets were flipped on their heads when the Russians invaded Ukraine, because as part of the invasion, if you'll remember, they began manipulating the supply of natural gas that they have an abundance of. They began manipulating that supply to Europe, and it became a quick scramble, a big battle for supply and demand. The price of natural gas skyrocketed. The price of all fuels skyrocketed. Here in New England, the generators, those who manufacture the power, most of what they use as a fuel to manufacture that power is natural gas. So when the price skyrocketed, their prices went up. So when we buy the power on behalf of most of our customers, we are paying the generators the price that they ask for. As we say, we pass through that cost to our customers. And let me make it, I want to be very clear to you and your viewers. We make absolutely not 1 penny on those supply costs. Everything we collect for the suppliers, we pay the suppliers. There is no markup. There is no profit. And I know we've heard that, we've heard people questioning why. It's the supplier side that has gone up due to worldwide events, climate change, a number of events that have caused energy prices to basically go through the roof. Natural gas, electricity, gasoline. You've seen it everywhere. If you go shopping, everything has gone up.
But as you say, since deregulation, we actually have a choice of which company is going to be our supplier. If we don't choose otherwise, we default to having Eversource be the supplier. That's called the standard plan. Is that correct?
The standard service. And yes, for your viewers in for the viewers in Darien, of course, you are Eversource customers. You have, in fact, all Eversource customers have the choice of which supplier you want to go with. Now, keep in mind, you can choose a third-party supplier, and we encourage customers to shop and look. And I'll give you the details in just a second of where to shop. But keep in mind, when you shop for a third-party supplier, Eversource is still your electric company. You still get your monthly bill from us. If there's a power issue, you would still call us. But you indeed have the choice. Now, if you go to energizect.com, and keep in mind, that is the only place one should go to shop for a third-party supplier. Unfortunately, scammers have entered the fray when it comes to third-party suppliers. And we've received reports from customers of scammers trying to redirect customers online to other websites to get them to sign up with a particular third-party supplier. Energizect.com is the only place you should go. When you go on the site, you will see Rate Board. You click on Rate Board, and a couple of questions will come up. Are you a residential or business customer? Are you a customer of Eversource or United Illuminating? And from there, a board will appear, a rate board showing the latest costs from the third-party suppliers in comparison to our current costs. And if something looks attractive to you, we encourage you to look into it. Make sure you understand the terms of the contract. Make sure you understand what you need to do before you go forward and decide to sign on with a third-party supplier. Now, once you do sign on, it will take about 30 days or so, one cycle, as we say, of your bill for it to take effect. But on your Eversource bill, you will see on there under supplier, you will see the name of the company you are currently doing business with at that point and what the current rate is. And you can go from there. And hopefully, using a third party supplier, you'll be able to, save some money and save some energy in the meantime.
Mitch Gross is our guest today on Community Matters. He is a spokesman for Eversource. And full disclosure, I have gone to that website and I have chosen a third-party supplier. And one of the reasons I did that was the rates were half of what the standard package was from Eversource. And at the risk of embarrassing you, I should ask, have you done any rate shopping yourself?
I have. I
you
have switched. Yes.
You
currently
switched from your own company.
Yes. Yes. And again, it does not affect my company. They are still my company. They are still your electric company. We still get the bill as you do. Right. What I'm doing for my family and many others are doing now is they're trying to save a few pennies per kilowatt hour. It does not affect our bottom line. You switching to a third-party supplier does not affect it in the least, because again, every penny that is collected for the suppliers goes right back to the suppliers. We don't make a cent on the supply side.
Can you reveal what percentage of your customers use the standard plan versus third parties?
Well, the last numbers I saw, we file these numbers with PURA, the Public Utilities Regulatory Authority. We file them monthly. The last numbers I saw were through the end of 2022 through December 31st. And surprisingly, it's only about 10% of our customers have switched as of December 31st. Now, yes, the new rates went into effect January 1st. And please keep in mind that they will be in effect through the end of June 30th. July 1st, they will be readjusted again, and we will all know what the numbers will be at that time.
And the third-party suppliers, do they only get to adjust their rates every 6 months, or can they do it more frequently?
That's a good question. I watch the board regularly. I've seen adjustments regularly. So I think the smartest thing is to watch the board regularly and keep in mind, if you switch to a third-party supplier, you really need to pay attention come June, the end of June, early July, when the supplier side is adjusted again. Now, historically, the numbers have gone down, or historically in the summer, because the demand for natural gas is greatly reduced at that time of year for the second half of the year. We will see. I cannot predict, Jim. I don't know what the numbers will show, but we're fingers crossed that the numbers will drop. Of course, if they do drop again, you of course can switch suppliers again. That's part of Connecticut regulations. You may switch at will from a third-party supplier back to us or back to a third-party supplier. It's your choice. You have the choice.
And it used to be that some of the third-party plans that looked like too good to be true required you to be locked in for 8 months, 12 months. But the ones I saw on recent investigation all said you can cancel anytime you want. There's no cancellation penalty.
Right.
It seemed very open and transparent.
And PURA, Public Utilities Regulatory Authority, has done a really good job at watching to make sure that the third-party suppliers are playing by the rules. And yes, that's one of the rules, that there is no fee for switching. There is no penalty fee here in Connecticut for switching. So we as customers, as consumers, the options there, whether we choose to switch or not. Now, will the number of those who have switched go up with the January report and the February report? It remains to be seen. We know there's been a great deal of interest in the third-party suppliers since the numbers came out publicly that they are what they are. But I think more and more of the folks here in Connecticut are understanding they have the opportunity to do something about it to make a switch if they choose to.
But as you say, for some people, it's just inertia. They don't want to start messing with the internet and what's a third party provider. But as we've just explained, hopefully, it's pretty easy. It's very transparent, and it's something you can change as at will.
Right. I went shopping. I don't know about you. It took me about 10, 15 minutes to wrap it all up. And then it was a matter of getting the confirmation from the company I've elected to go with for the time being, and it now appears on my bill. The new rate appears on my bill.
One of the other things you can do at energizect.com as you're going down this rate board is you can also sort it by how much of the electricity that they're selling you was generated using renewable resources. What does that mean? I mean, and why should I care?
Well, it's a choice. It's it's an opportunity for customers to choose if they want to. Some of these third-party suppliers are telling us that the electrons, what you are buying from them, come from renewable sources: solar, wind, hydro, whatever. That's what they're marketing at this point. And Pura continues to watch over them to make sure that, again, they're playing by Connecticut's rules.
And renewable resources include solar energy, burning refuse, garbage, wood, wind, landfill gas. I mean, there are some landfills that they harvest the natural gas from that. But looking at the overall numbers from across New England, renewables only represent about 9% of the source of energy for the electricity that we use. Natural gas being the largest, as you mentioned.
Right.
Nuclear being close, well, not close second, but half as much, 26%. A little bit of water, tiny little bit of coal as well, too. But if you want to vote with your checkbook and you want to support renewables, you can choose a power company that is sourcing its electrons, as you say, from one of those wind farms or solar energy facilities, of which there are going to be more. There's more coming in terms of renewable generation sources.
Oh, yes. We had announced a couple of years ago we are now working with Ørsted out of Denmark, the world's largest company when it comes to wind power. We're moving forward with permits for a number of wind farms off the coast of New England, and it's going to take a few more years to get them online, but that's another tremendous opportunity for New England to take advantage of renewables. The push is on to decarbonize as soon as possible, and wind is one of those ways. It's under construction is where it is right now, but we push forward. I know a lot of work is being done. We have a team that their entire focus is wind power, and they're working with our friends at Ørsted to make that possible as quickly as possible.
Do people in Fairfield County or Darien in particular that you know of, do they use solar on their homes to help source their energy?
They do. In fact, all of Connecticut's counties, there's an increase in the number of homes that are taking advantage of solar. Actually, we here at Eversource just did a story with one of the Connecticut TV stations about solar. Is it right for you? Things to look for, things to consider. It's as our expert said, think of it as a home improvement project. That's what it all comes down to. You're going to have to get you're going to talk to multiple companies. In fact, that's the smart thing to do. You talk to multiple vendors, get their best estimate, read the fine print, and then make the determination. But yes, we're seeing more people interested in solar, though the interest in wind is there. There are a lot of things in the works. But in the meantime, we've got 1.28 million electric customers here in Connecticut across 149 of the state's 169 communities, and we've got a lot of work to do to make sure the system remains strong, resilient, and gives you that power when you flip that switch.
Well, we're going to be talking about keeping the juice on in a moment. Still going to talk about trees. I promise you. People are waiting for this, but you got to stay tuned for the rest of it. Mitch Gross, our guest today on the program, he is with Eversource. What are some of the other things that people can do to pay you less, reduce the cost of the electricity that they use?
You're talking about saving energy, and energy efficiency is the way to go. We have some tremendous programs. If you go to eversource.com and click on where it says save money and energy, there's a drop down menu. Go in there, and it's all the details about our programs. Of course, our most popular one for our residential customers is Home Energy Solutions. That's, oh my gosh, what's it been, 15 years plus we've had that program, but it remains our most popular. It's where a contractor comes to your house and they assess your home from the attic to the basement. They look for the drafts, and then they go to work trying to seal up as much as they can, whether it's through weather stripping, caulking, insulation, whatever needs to be done. It costs you $50. It's the best bargain going, unless you want to do it yourself. If to have these professionals come in and do it, they go to work tightening the home, so to speak. And the idea is to save that energy, to keep the warm air in during the winter, to keep the cool air in during the summer. That is what we are all trying to do. If you go on the website and check out the details, now's the time. If there was ever a time to do it, with these new supplier rates and everybody more conscious than ever about their utility bill, this is the time to do it. Absolutely.
Well, here again, full disclosure, I have used that program and it is fantastic. And actually, we tagged along with one of your contractors doing such an energy audit at a home here in Darien, and we'll show that program again so people can see what's involved. One of the neat things that they do is what's called a blower test.
Blower door test. Yes.
They close all the windows and they close all the doors, and they put a giant fan at your front door, and they start sucking all the air out of your house. And that's how they discover where the drafts are. Right. You don't have to wait for 9-degree temperatures to find out where the drafts are coming in. They'll show you. They take little smoke sticks and they can look for clues, and then they plug up those holes as part of this package, and then recommend other things to do, more insulation in the attic, etc. And one of the other things that they were doing, I'm not sure if they still do, was they were replacing light bulbs. Now, why should I care about a light bulb? And what kind of technology improvements have been made that make my light bulb so much better?
Well, let's start in terms of full disclosure. The light bulbs are no longer part of the package. However, having said that, they are the simplest thing anyone can do to change from whether you have compact fluorescence or incandescence. The technology now, it's the LED. They burn clean, they burn bright. The technology is such that the manufacturers have been able to adjust the color temperature in these lights to make them more attractive. And not only do they save a lot of energy, they last a long time. They can last for years. So LEDs are the way to go. Every light around me here is an LED. That's standard.
I hope so.
Yes, absolutely. That's standard operating procedure. The lights in my home, they are LEDs. That's standard operating procedure. They last longer. They save you energy, and the goal, of course, is to save energy and hopefully save a little money. And anybody can go to the store, pick up the LEDs, and install them themselves. But again, if you're not a do-it-yourselfer, the Home Energy Solutions program for residents is the way to go. And the details are on our website, eversource.com. And we really encourage your viewers, if they have not already, well, you heard Jim's endorsement. Now's the time to take advantage of it.
It is a fabulous program, and they're not paying me a dime to say that. I can tell you.
No, we're not. That's true.
The other thing that I do in my home, being of Scottish heritage, is I'm always walking around turning off lights in rooms where there's nobody there.
Yes.
My family tends to light up our house like a Christmas tree, and I'm going, that's nice, but there's nobody in that room. Please turn the light off. I guess that helps a little bit too, even if it's an LED bulb. I mean, just
Yes.
psychologically, you don't
Well,
need to be
well, let me take that a step.
illuminating the neighborhood.
If I may, let me take that a step further. Not only is turning off the lights that are unneeded beneficial, it will save you energy, but controlling the vampire power or the phantom power around your house. All those little lights on all your electronics that continue to glow, that little red light that stays on at all hours of the day and night, that's power that's being used just to keep the device awake, so to speak. Even when you turn it off, it's still running. So one of the many recommendations we make to our customers is if you're serious about trying to save some energy, you plug all of these devices into a power strip. All right, a smart power strip, one of the better power strips out in the market right now. And at the end of the day, turn off the power strip. And that way, that ensures that all of these devices have shut down and you are indeed saving some energy. Again, it's all about saving some energy and hopefully saving a little money on your bill.
Even your cable box. I mean, a lot of these
Yes.
things, they're on, but they're not on. I mean, you're not using them, but they're on so that when you push the on button and you think you're turning it on, it's instantly on. And you need that satisfaction instead of having it warm up a little bit. It's not tube technology, but I mean, these things do add up. Another thing that I wanted to ask you about is smart thermostats.
Yes.
And I believe you still offer a real substantial price break on those. First of all, what's a smart thermostat, and then how do I get one?
Well, smart thermostats, they're available online. They're available in big box stores and hardware stores, pretty much anywhere. And with a smart thermostat, you can basically program the thermostat to turn up the heat, turn down the heat, turn up the air conditioning, turn down the air, depending on your lifestyle, time of day. You can, with many of the smart thermostats, you can do it remotely from your phone. You can just instruct your thermostat on the way home, time to turn up the heat for a few hours, something like that. They are absolutely worth the investment. You'll need to check online to see what the latest incentives and rebates are. We have a rotating schedule of incentives and rebates for a lot of things. We've done the smart thermostats. I know everything from windows and insulation and all of those things. And that's all through the Energize Connecticut and the Home Energy Solutions program. The bottom line is there are always opportunities. And of course, if you're going shopping and it's time to upgrade those appliances, look for the Energy Star label. You've heard that tag, that brand tag forever, but it's so true. Look for the Energy Star label. These appliances have been tested and they are, they've been found to save you energy. And that's what we're all trying to accomplish.
Mitch Gross from Eversource. I guess the question is, you're the company that delivers electricity. You used to be in the business of generating it as well, too. Why are you trying to get me to use less instead of more?
Well, it makes Connecticut a more attractive place to live, to work, to raise a family, when the energy prices are under control. It makes this state more attractive. It makes it more attractive to outside investors who may want to be doing business in this part of the country. People who raise a family here, want to stay here, want to retire here. It all comes down to making Connecticut a better place to live.
Well, it's also, I was going to say, it's cheaper for you to help us conserve than it is to try to build another power plant when you were in the generation business, right?
Right. Well, that's a very good point. It benefits all of us. Reasonable energy prices will benefit all of us.
Right. Well, let's segue into some other issues because I know that there are a few. Eversource is a publicly traded company.
Mm-hmm.
It is a for-profit corporation, but there are a lot of utility companies that work as a cooperative, almost as a nonprofit. Why are the energy prices in Connecticut so high? Is it because you are a publicly traded company?
The energy prices have gone up and are high because of the state of worldwide energy markets. That's the bottom line. As I noted earlier, everything that has occurred with the war in Ukraine, the manipulation of the energy markets in Europe has affected the entire energy markets worldwide. Now, having said that, we have a team that goes out there and buys that energy at regular intervals on behalf of our customers. They work very hard to get the best prices they can. But the reality is, uh, the suppliers the suppliers charge what they're going to charge for the price of power right now. And that's going to be that's the landscape right now and will continue to be for the foreseeable future.
Eversource in 2021 showed profits of $1.2 billion. Why should that go to your shareholders instead of back to your customers?
Well, we pump hundreds of millions of dollars back into Connecticut's economy every year. Number one, just through the upgrade work that we do on the system.
But you would be doing that if you were a nonprofit, would you not? I mean, you'd still be hiring people to cut trees and do the other maintenance functions.
It all has to be done. Because we are who we are also the top taxpayer or among the top 3 taxpayers in every community that we serve. We, again, pump just millions and millions of dollars back into local community economies. You think about storms, when we prepare for storms and the money that we pump into the state through everything from the hotels that all the line workers have to stay at, through all the restaurants to help feed all of our visiting line workers when they come, things like that. We are continually pumping tens, if not hundreds of $millions back into Connecticut's economy. It's not like it's all going one way. It's being put back into the state as well. And of course, through our community services and donations and grants and things like that. It's just countless dollars being redirected back to the people of Connecticut.
So we're talking about storms, and we're talking about those times when the power goes out. And you mentioned crews coming in from out of state. I mean, I remember times where the power was out for 2 or 3 days, and there'd be a line crew from Quebec and then somebody else from Ohio. How do you coordinate? Do you have a mutual aid response package with other utility companies where they'll help you out and you help them out when storms happen?
That's exactly right, Jim. It's all about mutual aid. And yes, these companies help one another when they have the ability to do so. Keep in mind, if there's a storm coming and it's in the Caribbean, we're already looking at it. We have multiple weather forecasting services. We have a service with the University of Connecticut over at the Eversource Energy Center over there. It's a outage prediction modeling system. They begin to provide us with daily information, what they see the track of the storm will be, the estimated possible customers affected, which direction the storm will come, which parts of the state may be affected more so than others. So we're looking at storms days and days in advance. At the same time, we are reaching out through the mutual aid system for help. We're already securing out-of-state crews. We're bringing them in as quickly as possible, putting them up in hotels, getting them ready, and we wait and see. But the bottom line is we're prepared. We are absolutely prepared if the storm, delivers like it's predicted to deliver. There have been times when the storm, thankfully, took a right turn. I can think of Henri, Tropical Storm Henri. When it came ashore a couple of years ago, it was predicted to come right up the Connecticut River, and we were ready to go. And what did it do? It decided at literally the last second, it took a right turn and came ashore in Rhode Island. Unfortunate for them, we caught a break at that time. But that's standard operating procedure, Jim. Looking way out ahead of time at these storms, bringing in the necessary troops. It's like a small army. And we have a team of people, and that's their job. They orchestrate this small army. They determine where they're going to stay, what areas they're going to start working at if need be. And like any general will do, he or she will move his troops around as needed as the situation changes. So it's a full-time job when there's a storm approaching, a full-time job and it's all hands on deck. And it's part of being in the utility business.
You also have a new app that you can have on your phone to report outages and see what the status of outages is in your neighborhood too, right?
Right. We have
that working out for you?
It works. We've heard from our customers in previous storms, may have had trouble getting through to us for various reasons. So, we have systems now. You can go online, you can register, you can report the outages, you can get updates on your phone, you can report an outage by phone, of course, the good old way. You can go on the website and do so. There's all kinds of ways to stay in touch with us, and to stay in touch with you. And as you're part of these programs, you get regular updates by email, by phone if you choose to do so. We try to keep you up to date based on the best available information at that current time. We know it's important to keep our customers abreast of what is going on. We've got our hands full with some of these big storms, but it always comes down to we get this. Just tell me, how long is it going to be? Tell me how long it's going to be, and we do everything we can to get that information as quickly as we can to you.
If the problem is wires coming down, why don't you bury the lines? Why don't you put it all underground so trees can do whatever they're going to do and they're not going to affect my electricity?
Well, the electric system goes back, early 20th century, late 19th century. It has always been 99.9% overhead. Having said that, there are opportunities to put it underground. I could talk about the cost. Let me say this. We hear from communities all the time about what would it take to take this section and put it underground. When we share with them the information and what is entailed, 99.9% of the time it's, well, thank you very much, and they go on to something else.
It's expensive.
The cost aside, it's what it entails. If you elect to move a system underground, you don't just dig a trench and throw the line, in and cover it with dirt. It does not work out that way whatsoever. What you have is you're basically taking everything that's on the utility poles, the electric, the cable, the phone, everything else, and you're trying to coordinate it with all of these other companies to move it underground, to find a space underground where water lines will be, where natural gas lines will be, where who knows what else will be down there at that time. You have to tear up neighborhoods. I mean, it's talking about taking down trees, tearing up streets. You're basically reconstructing an area completely, because you have to construct underground vaults that connect these lines. You see the manhole, but there's an underground vault with each one of these manholes, and there's tubes where all the lines run underground. This is a huge undertaking for when it is done. So you're talking about a ton of inconvenience, along with skyrocketing costs. It's quite an endeavor.
Well, as I often say when people come up to me with solutions on how to fix the trains, if the answer was that easy, it would have been done by now, and it hasn't been done by now, and there's probably a reason why. So,
right, and
you just heard one of them.
Underground aside, it's not a silver bullet. Underground has its own issues. With overhead, sure. We have the trees, we have the storms, but you can find and fix an overhead problem much quicker than you can find and fix an underground problem. Underground problems, you also have the possibility of flooding. You have to deal with rising temperatures underground, things of that. So there's no, as they say, the silver bullet. It's not undergrounding. There's pros and cons to everything.
Mitch Gross, our guest today. He is the spokesman for Eversource. joining us today on Community Matters. And Mitch, we have finally come to the part of the program everyone's been waiting for. We're going to talk about trees. You have been thorough, and some people say overly aggressive in removing trees along the railroad tracks, along the Merritt Parkway, in various neighborhoods.
Okay.
What's going on? Why are you clear-cutting neighborhoods, angering your customers?
Well, I first of all, when it comes to the Merritt Parkway, that's the Connecticut Department of Transportation. So for the record, let's clarify that, who's doing the work.
Fair enough.
Now, the term you used to describe the work, clear cutting, with all due respect, we would disagree with that. We are trying to be selective. We have, in many cases, work that needs to, tree work that must be done to maintain the reliability. You have a forest which has gotten older. You have a forest, and when I'm using the term forest in general terms, I'm not talking specific trees, but across the state, the forest is getting older. The forest is we have dealt with drought. We are dealing with more insect infestations than ever, and it is taking a toll on Connecticut's trees. The statistics tell the story. Trees are the number one cause of power outages across our system. If on a day like today, it's a beautiful day that you and I are talking, what we call a blue sky day. Still, of all the outages we'll have to deal with today, half of them will be caused by trees. When it comes to storms, up to 90% and sometimes more of the outages are caused by trees. So the challenge for us is to achieve as much of a balance as possible. We understand how our customers love our trees. I love the trees. It's what makes Connecticut such a beautiful place to live. But we have a team of arborists who are thoroughly trained. They understand what our customers would like to see, but we also have to maintain a system that is reliable, that the trees won't come down, or if the tree does come down, we're able to resolve the issue as quickly as possible. With all of the work we do, the idea is if there's an outage, it is as small and in short in duration as possible. We do what we can. Now, I know that there's been a lot of, we've heard from our friends in Darien, our customers down there. They weren't happy with the work along the railroad tracks. This is a job that went from Greenwich to Fairfield, all along the Metro North tracks. The work, the greenery had to be cut back. We had not only electrical problems, but the possibility of the trees, coming across the railroad tracks. And as we all know, that's one of the busiest railroad corridors in the country, that stretch of track along Lower Fairfield County. So there were a lot of things to take into consideration. Now, there are rules that we follow with all of this tree trimming. We must get permission from property owners to have the work done. Our team goes out there and we explain what needs to be done. We work with community officials, with each town's tree warden, with each town's first selectman. But it's necessary. This is one of the most heavily wooded states in the country. Trees are a part of the equation, and they will remain a part of the equation. And we need to do what we do to make sure that the power's there when you need it.
Well, specifically around the area of the Metro North tracks that you were mentioning in Selleck's Woods, it's not just trees that were taken out, but all the brush, all the lower plantings as well too. Those weren't going to necessarily fall on the railroad tracks. You actually had to go to arbitration with the town and agree to a new planting schedule come the spring.
Yes.
And that's to your credit. Good.
And these plantings are more compatible with the technology, with the infrastructure that is out there. The idea is to keep the growth down to a minimum. For any trees that are planted, that they won't get tall enough to interfere with the electrical system. So yes, it was a trade-off, and yes, we went back and forth with the town. And the town officials, we had very earnest discussions. Our arborists, our representatives, town officials, everybody was upfront and forthright, and that's the way to be. But everybody walked away with a better understanding of the other side too, before an agreement was reached, so we could continue with the work to ensure that the power stays on when you need it.
Well, our first select woman described the outcome of everything as satisfying nobody, which probably means that it was fair and that nobody felt they came out ahead on the whole thing. You didn't get quite what you were looking for. The neighbors got something of what they were looking for. So nobody's completely happy, but at least the lights stayed on, right?
That's the bottom line, Jim. The lights stay on.
Yeah. Okay. On that optimistic, cheery note of compromise and nobody being happy, why don't we leave it there? And thank you for your time and being on our program today. Mitch Gross, he is a spokesman for Eversource, joining us today on Community Matters. Appreciate your time, Mitch.
And thank you, Jim. I appreciate the opportunity.
And thank you, our faithful viewers, for staying tuned through this whole conversation. Stay tuned on the credits. I'll put those website addresses that were mentioned during the program so you can find out those ways to save more money on your energy. Thanks for watching another edition of Community Matters.